For the last 7 days, I let Claude write every line of code I shipped. Not Copilot, autocomplete, not suggestions I could tweak. Actual code, I would describe what I wanted, Claude would write it, I would test it, and if it worked, I would ship it. I did not type a single line of logic for a full week. What happened was not what I expected. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what got built, what broke, what I had to override, and what I will never code the same way again. Let me set the rules first. I'm a full-time indie developer. I ship small tools and SaaS products for a living. My usual week involves maybe 400 lines of new code plus edits across a handful of projects. For this experiment, I set 3 rules. 1, I would only use Claude Code in my terminal, no cursor, no Copilot, just Claude, my files, my tests. 2, I would describe every feature in plain English and let Claude implement it. I could review and accept or ask for changes, but I would not write code manually. 3, every change had to pass tests before shipping. No manual overrides on the quality bar. Day 1 was disorienting. I opened my main project, typed Claude, and just started talking to it. Refactor my user settings module to use React Server components. Claude read the existing code, planned the change, edited 7 files, and ran the tests. 2 tests failed. Claude read the output, fixed the actual root cause in a type mismatch, and reran. All green, that took 6 minutes. Historically, that refactor would have been my whole afternoon. I sat there for a second and did not know what to do with the extra 4 hours. Day 2, I pushed harder. I asked Claude to add a new feature I had been avoiding. Webhooks out to customers when specific events happened. I said I want a webhook system with retries, signature verification, and a dashboard for customers to see their delivery history. Claude asked me 3 clarifying questions. What signature algorithm should it use? What retry policy? How many history entries to show? I answered. Claude produced a full implementation across 12 files, including tests, migrations, and a new dashboard page. I reviewed each file. The design was cleaner than what I would have written. I merged. Day 3 was where it got weird. I asked Claude to add rate limiting. It pulled down my existing middleware. Noticed I was using a pattern that had a subtle race condition and said before I add rate limiting, you should know your current middleware has a race condition under concurrent requests. Want me to fix that first? I had no idea the bug existed. It showed me the scenario, I traced through it in my head and realized Claude was right. It had been lurking in my code for 3 months, could have caused billing errors under load. Claude fixed it, added tests that actually failed before the fix, and then built the rate limiter on top. Day 4 was the first real fight. I asked Claude to refactor a huge legacy file we both knew was a mess. 600 lines, lots of implicit state, half a dozen responsibilities mixed together. Claude proposed splitting it into 4 modules. I disagreed with one of the splits. I told Claude I wanted a different organization. Claude pushed back. It explained why its split was better for testability and gave 3 concrete scenarios where my version would cause pain. I read the scenarios. Claude was right. I accepted its version. I actually lost an argument to an AI about my own codebase. Day 5, I shipped 3 features in 1 day. A week ago, that would have been 3 full days. My velocity genuinely tripled. But here's the thing, I was not any less tired, I was more tired, because every feature now required decisions, not typing. I had to think harder about what I actually wanted. That is where the bottleneck moved, from implementation to specification. Day 6, I tried an adversarial experiment. I told Claude to add a feature I knew was a bad idea. Add tracking that would slow my app down and annoy my users. Claude implemented it, but before merging it said, I will ship this if you want, but I want to flag that this will slow your app by 200 milliseconds on every page load, and your users have explicitly asked in feedback to avoid this kind of tracking. I want to make sure this is what you actually want. I laughed. Then I canceled the feature. Day 7 was reflection day. I did not code anything new. Instead, I asked Claude to audit my entire codebase and write me a report. What is tech debt? What is fragile? What is over-engineered? What is dangerous? Claude produced a 14-page markdown document with file and line citations for every claim. I printed it. I will use this as my roadmap for the next quarter. I have never had that kind of overview of my own work in my life. Now let me be honest about what broke twice during the week. Claude shipped code with a subtle bug that passed tests, but failed in real usage. Both were edge cases my tests did not cover. That is a risk. I fixed both bugs and added new tests. In both cases, Claude had been too confident. It assumed certain input shapes that turned out to be wrong. You still have to review. You still have to actually understand the code being written. Claude is a pair programmer, not a replacement brain. There was one more thing I did not expect. I understand my own code base deeper now than when I was writing every line, because every conversation with Claude forced me to articulate what I wanted in plain English. Over 7 days, that becomes a compressed mental model of the whole system. I spent more time thinking about design and less time wrestling with syntax. The thinking got better. The code got better. The shipping got faster. So what is the lesson? Claude Code does not replace developers. It moves the bottleneck. The old bottleneck was typing. Claude solves that. The new bottleneck is specification, judgment, and taste. If you can describe precisely what you want, you can ship at 3 times your old speed with no loss in quality. If you cannot describe what you want, you will ship 3 times as much mess at the old speed. Your clarity of thought is now the ceiling on your output. Claude Code is free with a Claude subscription. You can install it tonight, one npm command. 30 seconds, pick one task you have been avoiding in your code base. Not a toy, a real one. Hand it to Claude, watch what happens. You will spend the rest of your week reorganizing how you work. If this hit for you, subscribe for the full Claude Experiment series. I'm running a different test every day, and share this with a developer friend who is on the fence about AI coding tools. They need to see this. Thanks for watching. Now go open your terminal.